Hey, I'm ZSH Plays. Welcome to the Grand Tour of Bellemont Zoo. 10 months in the making, inspired by the great city zoos of Europe, Bellemont Zoo is finally complete, and today we're going to take a tour of the entire thing. Here we are at the entrance to Bellemont Zoo. I'm so glad I took the time to build an entire city around it before we started building the zoo, because it really helps to set it into the kind of European city vibe that I wanted. And as of 6 PM today, as well as uploading the zoo, I'm going to be uploading the city backdrop as a blank map, so you can build your own zoos in this kind of setting as well if you want. But yeah, let's go in. Really happy with this entrance. It took a lot of building, this kind of art deco construction I really like. Got some advertising hoardings as well here, inspired by Zoo Leipzig. We can go in here, get some tickets. Hello. And then we'll go into the zoo. So the first thing that we come to is the Explorers Plaza. And we've got a zoo map over there as well, which I've just made. Got a little fish pond here. We've got our Explorers Club fountain for all of you who've joined the Explorers Club. Thank you so much for doing that. But we're going to head down to the Madagascar House. That'll be our first port of call. Got some penguins here, and we'll take a look at those later on. We're going to go down the central pathway of the zoo to the Madagascar House. This is based on the classic palm houses of Europe that were built back in the 1800s. This one in particular is based on the one at Schönbrunn Palace in Vienna, which actually sits just next to Vienna Zoo. Got a pathway down there leading to our Gibbon Island, and then over here we have a swan lake. So we'll take a quick look at that. This is one of the things in the zoo that is designed to have been here since 1850, and this formal pond for swans would have been here as well. We have a nice fountain and some statues as well, all surrounded by willows, one of my favourite trees. If we head back this way, we can go into the Madagascar House. This is home to ring-tailed lemurs and shifaka. Oh, we've got some peafowl over here as well, just roaming about on the lawn. This is one of the most complex builds we've done on the channel, I think. Doesn't look that complicated because it's mainly made from the classic glass pieces, but there is a lot of detail in here, something like 100,000 hinge number ones. You can see them going up the metalwork there. But if we step inside, you can see what we've got. I've actually been to the Grand Palm House in Vienna. That was what inspired this, and it's not too dissimilar inside. It's an absolutely amazing place. Trees stretching all the way up to the enormous ceiling, planting all around. They don't have any lemurs in there, although they do have some adorable little tree frogs living in there, just completely free roaming, or free hopping, I guess. So down this side we've got some more tropical planting representing the parts of Madagascar that are full of tropical foliage, which is one of the places where you will find cockerels shifaka. I can't see any of them in here at the moment, but we've definitely got some in here. Seems to all be about the ring-tailed lemurs today. And then if we head on past this little guy here, they can climb all these ropes. We'll go down to the other end, which has got more deserty planting, as inspired by the drier parts of Madagascar where the ring-tailed lemurs live. Here we go. Oh, I think I see some shifaka down here. Here we go. Bouncing along as they do. And as well as the shifaka, we've also got the spider tortoise, which is one of Madagascar's reptiles. I've used Herman's tortoise as a stand-in here because they look very similar. So just a nice little exhibit. And again, the shifaka and the ring-tailed lemurs can climb all over this as well, which I like. And that's the Madagascar House. Now if we head on out of here, we'll come to one of the latest areas in the zoo. Most of this has been built over the past month. This is where we'll find the zoo's sea lions, flamingos, lions and bonobo. We've got the lion house there. Behind here we have the sea lions. Over there we have the bonobo. And then here, which is where we're going to be going, we've got Flamingo Lagoon. This is based on the Flamingo Lagoon at Leipzig. Probably a little bit of inspiration from Chester Zoos as well. I really wanted to get the impression that you get in these kind of walk-through aviaries where there's just loads and loads of flamingos on a central island. So in order to achieve that, although it looks like they can access the whole of this massive aviary, actually they are confined to this little bit here, which means they'll actually spend the vast majority of their time on this little island. The mesh that you can see here was built by Captain Callum. This is a workshop item because, well, just look at it. There's absolutely no way that we have the time on the channel to build this much mesh and also build the habitat itself in the course of a week. So I used his blueprint, so thank you again, Captain Callum, for that. We're going to walk through the Flamingo Lagoon now, and this will bring us out into the Eurasian Steppe, which is the beginning of Bellemont Zoo's Asian area. So this is all themed to Mongolia and the other areas in the Eurasian Steppe. We've got a Przewalski's horse habitat here. Got quite a little herd of these going on now. I think we've got a couple of babies in here, or foals I should say. Tried to make this look really natural. The bio roof over there, yeah, you can just see one of the foals in the background. And if we head over this way, we can visit the rest of the animals in the Eurasian Steppe, starting with the Tarkin. Here we go. Such unique animals, the Tarkin. Really like them. Cross between a goat and a buffalo or something. Got a very rocky habitat here, which matches their natural environment. I think we've got some babies in here as well. And then around here, we've got the palace for Pallas's cat. Probably the biggest Pallas's cat habitat ever built, but I really like it and I wanted these guys to have a lot of room. You can just see one here. Lots of space for the two that we have in here, and then the kittens. This was built in sandbox mode, but I've left most of the options on in terms of the animals. All I've really removed is the welfare so that we can make realistically sized habitats, although this one's probably big enough even for franchise mode. And then I've got rid of money as well because, yeah, building stuff like this isn't cheap. This is the end of Bellemont Zoo in this direction. You can just see the park beyond it there. If we move around here, we've got the back of the Przewalski's horse habitat there. And then we come around here to the habitat for the Markhor. All the statues that you can see around here, like those horses in the background, are inspired by statues in Mongolia and Kazakhstan. There's also what's called a stupa over there, that white kind of statue. And here are the Markhor. Lots and lots of rock work for these guys. They are animals of the mountains. That's the goat rock enrichment item in the back there. They can actually climb that. But yeah, that's the Markhor. And this is pretty much all of the Eurasian Steppe. It goes around in a circle. So to the right there is the access to the next part of Asia, which is themed around India. Round there is a path that takes you back to the zoo's main lawn in front of the Madagascar House. We're going to go down here and to the left to see the zoo's Indian rhino. So this habitat kind of bridges the Indian parts of the Asian area with the Eurasian part of the Asian area. So we're going to go down to this one now, and then we will check out the rest of the Indian part of this area later on. This whole area is one of my favourite parts of the zoo. It is heavily inspired by Vienna Zoo and their Indian rhino habitat. This big tree here with all the flags coming off it, leading up to a raised viewing platform, which gives us a really nice view into the Indian rhino habitat and the elephant habitat behind it, so you should be able to see both animals at the same time. There we go, there's our Indian rhino, and you can see one of the Indian elephants in the background as well. I've tried to design it so the guests that are walking past the elephants are mainly hidden by the back wall of this habitat, while still enabling you to see the elephants as well. And I think it works pretty nicely. Back this way we can go into the indoor area for the rhinos, or see the indoor area for the rhinos rather. A walkthrough for a rhino would not be a great idea. We've only got the one rhino in here, so we won't be seeing them in here. You can get a look at what their indoor looks like. Again, inspired by Vienna Zoo. Got a little pool here, and then more space at the back, and then a yard here that joins on to the outdoor area that we just saw. Alright, we're going to head back round to the Madagascar House and explore the next part of the zoo. We're going to pass by the yurt that we saw earlier, so we'll take a quick look inside here. This is based on something I saw at Prague Zoo, and basically tells the history of the reintroduction of Przewalski's horses into the wild. So we got the horses here at Bellemont Zoo, and at some of the other zoos in the world that house them, like Tecton Zoo there, and then them in the wild. We'll head out here and leave the Eurasian steppes. We're going to head on to our next habitat, which is for the gibbons. We'll grab a quick ice cream from Roman Ices and then go and check out the gibbon habitat. We've got an indoor area here and then an island over here. We'll see where they are at the moment. Hopefully they're out on the island. This is based on a few different gibbon islands that I've seen in various zoos. Always a popular way to keep them because you get an unobstructed view. I can hear a peafowl, but oh, there we go, there's one. Just chilling out on their log there. And you can climb all the way up these ropes, around these trees, and then over to these trees here as well. And then the water's just wide enough for them to not be able to jump over it. And we'll head on back round to the Explorers Plaza. Most of this is pretty new, the detailing around the edges of the paths and the flowers and things like that. Back in the Explorers Plaza we can go and see the entrance animal for the zoo, which is the African penguins. Pretty much always start my zoos with either penguins or flamingos or something like that. Such a popular entrance animal. And who doesn't like penguins? Everyone's always happy to see penguins in the zoo, including me. This is based on the penguin habitat at Vienna Zoo. Lots of rock work and lots of water. And we can also see the zoo map here. Love a good zoo map. Mainly inspired by the map for London Zoo. Got the little orange dot to tell us we are in the centre of the Explorers Plaza. Let's go around and check out South America. There's a photo point over there for zoo nights, the zoo's nighttime experience. First thing we come to in the South American area is the bush dogs. Here we go, here's one. This habitat is based on a zoo here in the UK called Knowsley Safari Park. Look at him go. I just thought it was a really, really pretty habitat, so I pretty much recreated it, just on a slightly smaller scale. I love the bush dogs. They're amazing animals to watch in real life, and they're very cute in Planet Zoo as well. Next up in this area is maned wolves and giant anteaters. And then we've got the huge From Amazon to Andes exhibit there as well. So outside we've basically got South America, the southern part of South America, with the maned wolves and the giant anteaters. See if we can see any maned wolves in here. There's one. I think there's 3 in here now. I saw an entire family of them at Yorkshire Wildlife Park. I think they had 7 or 8 of them in the same habitat. And apparently as long as they're related, they're quite happy to live in fairly sizable groups. And then we've got a very similar habitat here for the giant anteater. Wanted them to both look similar, so they kind of bookend each side of the entrance. Oh, there's one of the anteaters now. Great timing. You can see the Madagascar House in the background. That is basically there to provide a backdrop pretty much wherever you are in the zoo. Let's head into From Amazon to Andes. This is one of my favourite parts of the zoo. It takes advantage of one of the mechanics that was introduced in the update for the Barnyard Animal Pack. So guests can actually walk along these logs here. Stole this idea from the latest area at the Mandai Wildlife Reserve in Singapore called Rainforest Wild. I really wanted the guests to be able to cross this water walking on the logs. So by turning this into an animal experience habitat with the capuchins up there and the capybara that you can see in the water. The guests will walk literally everywhere in here. That's why I love this habitat so much. I think it's one of the best things in the zoo. So we'll take a walk over the log bridge and get into the next part of this area. The animals can go over the logs as well. Through here we have the Andes part of From Amazon to Andes. Starting with the sloths, which represent the end of the Amazon area. You can see one there. Just a standard walk-through sloth exhibit with all the walls and floor turned off, and then built around it with these large trees to make it look a lot larger than the actual exhibit is in the game. And then over here we arrive at the Andes with the spectacled bear. Haven't done many bear builds in this game, but I always enjoy it when I do. Not sure where our spectacled bear is at the moment. Oh, there he is. Having some food. It's not the largest habitat. There is another kind of off-show area at the back there. But I think it looks really nice. And all of that climbing there, with the exception of the tyre, is climbable as well, so the bear can actually get up there. And that's From Amazon to Andes. It completes a circuit, so we can go back down here and into the log adventure part of it again. And then we will come out and make our way around to the next exhibit, which is the butterfly house. So the path from South America to the butterfly house takes us past the maned wolf habitat, so we get another little look in from here. See two of them there. No, three of them. There's a little baby there. Very cute. And if we head off round here, we'll get to the butterfly house. These beautiful banners were made by Katie DeBuggy, an amazing Planet Zoo creator. They put these on the workshop, so I grabbed them and added them to the outside of our butterfly house because I really like them. This is one of the zoo's classic buildings, built in 1895, as you can see. And it is a building for tropical butterflies, so with the addition of the Malabar rose that we got recently, we're able to get some more appropriate butterflies in here. And yeah, the butterfly house is one of my favourite additions to Planet Zoo, or the butterfly exhibit. It's just so cool having all the butterflies flying around you. Got some blue morphos there. If we head over here, I'm sure we'll see some different ones as well. There we go, got some Malabar rose butterflies there. This is inspired by loads of different butterflies houses that I've been to, mainly in Singapore Zoo and Chester Zoo. And like in Chester Zoo, there's a display here for pupae. So you can see, or if it was in the game you could, the butterflies hatching out of their pupae, which I've just made using some eggs. And that's the butterfly house. And we come out here, it will take us round to the Indian part of our Asian area. Starting with one of the largest habitats in the zoo for the elephants. I give a big thank you to Iben from the Bro Nation Discord for letting me have this Ganesh statue that he made. We made our own back in the elephants episode, and I was very pleased with it, and then he made one that was even better, so he very kindly provided it to us so that we can have it in the zoo. So we got one there, and then we have our own Ganesh statues in these temples here. And then the elephant habitat, the enormous elephant habitat. This is inspired mainly by Prague Zoo, although theirs is significantly larger than this. It takes about half an hour just to walk around it. But I wanted to get one as big as possible within the confines of this city zoo. So we've got all our Indian elephants over there. And then they've got a house over here, which was improved by a creator called Robin Bird. So thanks to her again for doing that. I just provided her with the building that we did, and she made some improvements to it, and now it looks even better. And the idea of this habitat is you can barely see the end of it from here. This section of it, all the way up to just past that water there, is for the females, and then we can just see a bull elephant away in the background over there. That's his part of the habitat. Now we'll go and check that out in a minute. And then over here, we've got one of the latest additions to the zoo, a habitat for the lion-tailed macaques. I've designed this so the climbing actually peaks out above the barriers, so you can actually see them when they're right up there. I've got that idea from, I forget which zoo it was, it might have been Zoo Berlin, but a zoo somewhere in Europe that designed their habitat like that, which I thought was really clever. And this is almost entirely made with pieces from the Asia Animal Pack. And there are a lot of macaques in here, and it's really active with all the climbing. I was very happy with this habitat when I was finished, especially the inside part of it where the monkeys are. I think that's one of the best interiors of the habitats in the zoo. Around here we have the bull section of the elephant habitat. This is inspired entirely by Zoo Leipzig. The part of their elephant habitat looks pretty much exactly like this, where you've got a really good view of the elephant in the foreground, and then behind it are all these amazing old Austrian style townhouses. I just thought that was a really good kind of juxtaposition between the elephants and the architecture, so I replicated that exactly. And then around here we have the final part of the Asian area, which is a habitat for the black buck. So this is very simple, mainly just a field with some wooden fencing around it. I put some Indian style telegraph wires, serve no purpose other than theming, just running across the whole habitat, and I really like the way that looks. And they're such beautiful animals as well, the black buck. That is the whole of the western half of Bellemont Zoo. We're going to take ourselves back to the Explorers Plaza and go into the eastern part of the zoo. Back in the Explorers Plaza, we're going to head into another one of the zoo's classic buildings, the Koala House. This is based on the Koala House at Vienna Zoo. A very European feel to the outside, and then a very Australian feel to the inside. Let's see if we can see our koalas in here. Lots of climbing for them. Oh, there we go. And they're actually climbing in that amazing way that the animals do in Planet Zoo. There we go. He's on the branch now. Got a little baby koala down there. Not the biggest habitat, but these are koalas, pretty much the laziest animals on the planet. They tend to just find a tree and sit in it, so I figured they didn't need a huge amount of space. But I'm really pleased with the look in here. I think it works very nicely. And if we go out the exit door here, we can move on to the next area of the zoo. We've got some Gharial over there. They will be the final animal that we see on the tour, because we're going to go this way and head into Café Bellemont, the zoo's main restaurant. This is based around Austrian architecture. Got the main restaurant here. And then this is also where the zoo's playground is. Gotta have a playground in your zoo. That's pretty much entirely a blueprint by PS Vision Gaming. If we go in here, we've got an actual restaurant in here. Lots of blueprints from Toves coffee shop pack there. And then round here is where you would actually order your food. We don't have time for eating today, so we're going to head out through the rest of Café Bellemont. We've got lots of outdoor seating here. I really like this spot. I think this would be a lovely place to spend the afternoon. You need a little break from walking around the zoo. We're going to head into our Japanese garden that we built a few weeks ago for the tanuki. So it's just around here. Just wanted to give this area a little bit of theming. So we've got a hopefully not too over the top Japanese style garden here. And then this is the habitat for the tanuki. Not sure if they're in or out at the moment. Looks like they might be in, so we'll wander down here and take a look at the inside of their habitat. They can climb in and out through that log that we just walked past. And we can see them in here. There they are, including the two little babies that we just got. Very cute. And we're going to head next door into Life in Cold Blood, which is the zoo's reptile and amphibian house. This is, believe it or not, the first reptile house or amphibian house that we have built on the channel. The only time I've ever built one was way back in London Zoo 1985, before this channel existed. So it was a lot of fun building this. As we round this corner, we can see it. The outside is based on the Indonesia House or Indonesia Jungle House at Prague Zoo. Then the inside is essentially original, with a little bit of inspiration from the Secret Life of Reptiles and Amphibians at London Zoo. But I was very pleased with this when it was finished. We've got all sorts of reptiles and amphibians in here, from the Asian water monitor, some water and climbing for them there, and then over here we've got a display of tree frogs with the golden poison frog in there, the Goliath frogs in here, there we go, big lad, and then the layman's poison frog in here. Behind them we have some more displays, firstly for the axolotl. Just a little tank for them here. See one swimming up there. What we could do if she'd move out of the way. There we go. And then round here, the Gila monster. Some there, and we've got some down here in their little hideaways. And then round here, the spectacled caiman. You can see one there. This is the largest habitat in the building. And these are the largest animals in the building, so that makes sense. You can see them above the water here, or we can crouch down and just about see them underwater. And we've got some more aquatic species around here. The diamondback terrapin. There's one. And then background here, we've got the final species in Life in Cold Blood, which is the boa constrictor. We've got two of their exhibits next to each other. There's only actually a snake in one of them. It just makes it look like they have more space available. No idea where he is. Hiding around in the back somewhere, I would imagine. I always feel like the snakes in this game are way too small. You see boa constrictors, reticulated pythons, anacondas. In zoos IRL, they are absolutely enormous. I feel like they're nowhere near that big in the game. And that is Life in Cold Blood. Let's move on now, round past the Madagascar House towards the European forest. And on the way, we will stop and see the latest additions to Bellemont Zoo, the sea lions. Here we go, we can already see the huge palm trees that we placed in to surround the sea lion habitat and give it a little bit of that kind of Californian vibe. Got signage here as well. You can see a little bit of the lion habitat ahead of you there. We'll be going there later. At the moment, we're going to go in and see the sea lions. We'll go up here first, get our first view of them. There we go. There's one on their island, a couple swimming around. And then we'll head back down here and go and take a look at the underwater viewing. These were built by Romano Palacios. Amazing blueprint. And we've got some atmospheric lighting in here, and hopefully a really good view of the sea lions underwater. There's one. Just splashing around at the bottom of the waterfall that feeds into the habitat. And yeah, that's the sea lions. Let's head on now into the forest. So you get a little glimpse of it from here. The main entrance to it is right here. A little wooden sign to show us. We've got numerous species in here, starting with the red deer. These are way up on the left here. Built them a hill, which one of them is very helpfully demonstrating at the moment. Lots and lots of grass in here. I think we used every type of grass in the game to build this habitat. I think it looks really natural. Got a little river running away along here as well. And if we head off down here, you can see the next inhabitants of the forest, the wild boar. Should give another shout out to Lion for their amazing signs that we've used throughout this zoo. Always makes it look more realistic when you've got some of those in. Here we go, here's our very muddy wild boar habitat. They've all been wallowing around in it. Lots of little hoglets in here. Next to them is the Eurasian lynx. So we've got some kind of secretive viewing in here so that the lynx aren't disturbed. Oh wow, great timing. There's one of the babies as well. Big rocky outcrop for them. Quite a lot of foliage around here. Some water as well. Trying to give them a really nice habitat. Always difficult to see in zoos IRL because they're both nocturnal and secretive, which is not a good combo. So to that end, all the viewing is kind of covered so that the guests don't disturb the lynx, as well as the little viewing hut through glass there. There's also a little peek through down here, or a couple of little peek throughs, one for adults and one for kids, so that you can either peek through here and see if you can spot a lynx, or if you're a little kid, you can crouch down here and take a look through there. None visible through here at the moment, but we've already seen them, so that doesn't really matter. And then we come to a little crossroads here. Down there is the Ocelots and Otters area that we recently built, and up here is our little European amphibians display. So we've got various watery exhibits here. One for the crested newt, you can see one there. And then round here we've got some for fire salamanders. Not sure where they are in there. Maybe there's some visible in here. Do like to hide. No, not seeing any fire salamanders today. And over here, a bit of an education piece. A habitat for American bullfrog, which is an invasive species in Europe and causing quite a problem. So I thought we would have some in here that have been captured, kept in the zoo, very much not bred here, just to keep them out of harm's way and in the zoo. This guy's going to clean the glass. And we can head on into ocelots and otters. This is one of those areas, like you often get in real zoos, where it wasn't really planned. It became an area with a name because of the animals that were here. So it starts off with giant otters, and next to it is the ocelot. The ocelot was added purely because it came out in the America's Animal Pack and I really wanted them in the zoo. I didn't really have a plan for them, but there was a building I'd been wanting to build for a very long time, which suited them. We'll take a look at that in a minute, but we'll start with the otters. We've got two paths here, and this is inspired by Habitat Vienna Zoo. So on the one path here, you can see the otters in the water, on top of the water, and their little feeding platform here. And then that waterfall joins us onto a much deeper pool where we can see them underwater. There's one of them now. And then behind us is a raised path. So if we walk along there, then we can get a view of the whole habitat. Much more of a kind of panoramic view. If we walk down here, we can see it. So now we can see the entire habitat without our view being blocked by the guests in front of us. We're going to swing back round to the ocelot habitat later, but now we're going to go into Africa. This is the largest area in the zoo, with the largest amount of species in it. It is pretty sizable, especially considering that Bellemont Zoo is a fairly small zoo. That was one of my main sort of aims with this, was to build a realistically sized city zoo where space is at a premium. We've got the beginning of the African area here. We've got another zoom out there, and then that opens out into this little kind of courtyard for tortoises and meerkats. The first animal is the African spurred tortoise. We've got a couple of them here. Again, we can see those houses in the background. Really like that kind of aesthetic. And then over here we've got the meerkats. This is based on the meerkat habitat at Yorkshire Wildlife Park here in the UK. It's massive, and it's kind of split into two, and it's a real treat to see meerkats when they've got as much space as this. You can see so much more of their natural behaviours as you watch them. So there's a couple of them on this side of the habitat, and they've got a little tunnel there, takes them into their indoor house, and then that can also take them through to this area that they have here. There's a fake keeper gate there and a real one in the other habitat so the keepers can get in and out. And then we've got a leopard habitat here. This is just a little courtyard where people can maybe take a break, have a little sit down. Got some education there, all sorts of important things around here. And then over the other side, we go into the habitat for baboons and Nubian ibex. We don't have any Nubian ibex in the game, but I managed to find some of the Eurasian ibex that looked very much like the Nubian ibex, so we've used those instead. This is a really sizable habitat. There are 60 baboons in here, and it's based on the baboon habitat at Singapore Zoo, which is definitely the best baboon habitat I've ever seen. So we've got loads and loads of baboons running around here. And then we've got the ibex on the rocks up there. This is another advantage to building in sandbox mode. We can do things like that. Keepers will just put food anywhere in habitats now. They don't need to be able to access it. They do need to be able to access food enrichment, like this little vegetable and fruit stick here. I forget what that's called. But they can just put piles of food anywhere, so the ibex up there aren't going to starve. We've got a lovely waterfall as well. And this big habitat extends past this rockwork here and down the back here to some indoor viewing for them as well. But we're going to head up here to the next part of the African section. One of my favourite habitats, the mixed habitat for cheetah. There's one now, and black rhino. This is inspired by a very similar habitat at Zoo Leipzig, where they mix these two species. Apparently it works very nicely there, and it works really nicely here. This is where the cheetahs tend to spend most of their time, up on this hill here. And then if we go around here, we get little glimpses into the rest of the habitat before the next main viewing window down here, where you can see where the black rhino tend to spend most of their time. But there is no division between the habitats. The animals are mixed. They can both go into any part of the habitat that they like. This is where the rhinos tend to spend their time, so you can see one down there. Not sure where the other one is. They've probably gone through this gate and into this part of the habitat. Over here is the habitat for the African leopard. This again is inspired by Zoo Leipzig. The main thing I wanted to replicate was this guitar string style barrier, which was built with the string pieces. As in real life, I've purposely designed this so it is really hard to see the leopard. Oh, we just caught him there. Might be able to see him through this window. They are very shy animals, leopards, so in good zoos you will tend to, but not this one. This one wants to be on YouTube. So yeah, the habitats tend to be designed so there's a lot of cover for them, so they can be off-show and can't be seen by the guests for the majority of the time. This one obviously doesn't have a problem with it. And if we head down here, we can see the biggest habitat in the zoo, the African savanna, along with our pygmy hippos. So the pygmy hippo habitat is away to the left, and then the savanna is away to the right. And then right in front of us there's a little habitat for Dik as well. Let's check out the pygmy hippos first. So they've got 2 outdoor viewings and then an indoor house as well. So we've got a female in here, and she does have a baby somewhere as well. Might be underwater. Yeah, I think he's just down there, swimming about, or walking about underwater rather. And if we head up here, we get the main view into the savannah, although there's a long path that runs down the majority of this savannah, so lots of viewing opportunities. We've also got a giraffe feeding up here. Oh, in fact, I think there might be one going on at the moment. So in here we've got giraffe, zebra, wildebeest, Thompson's gazelle and warthog. We'll go up here, we'll check out the giraffe feeding that's going on. Here we go, there's their food. They don't seem to be too fussed about it today. There we go, that's a savanna. Pretty sizable habitat. Filling up nicely with lots of new animals being born since we built it. Oh, is that giraffe coming this way? Yes, he is. This is where the feeding is here. Pretty good view. He's going to start nibbling away on those leaves. And we'll head round and check out the Dik. So I think we've got 3 of them in here at the moment, but I've given them quite a lot of cover in here. Dik are very shy, similar to leopards. Over here we've got the pygmy hippo house. This is another one of the zoo's older buildings. I figure this would be early 20th century. and then with the outdoors added much more recently to give them a lot more space and just make it a lot more attractive. But we can see our male hippo in here. So he's got access to this indoor part, and then through there he can get into the second outdoor enclosure, and then the female and the baby are over this side, and it's designed so there's a door at the back so they can be brought together for breeding purposes as well. Just behind the pygmy hippo house is the ocelot habitat that I mentioned, heavily inspired by the birdhouse at Otters in the Netherlands. We've also got this little monkey cage here, no longer in use. A little bit of kind of lore for the zoo, little explanatory sign there. Got this idea from London Zoo. This would be a monkey cage dating back to when the zoo opened in 1850. The zoo was kept here for historical purposes, but for obvious reasons no longer has animals in it. And then over here, the ocelot habitat. If I had to pick one habitat in the zoo that was my favourite, I think this would be it. As soon as I saw this when I went to Otters a few years ago, I knew that it had to be built in Planet Zoo. And I think we've done a pretty decent job on it. Really like it. It's not the most appropriate ocelot habitat, but I just wanted something that would work for a cat like that. They are pretty small. They like to hide and they like to climb, and this habitat provides them with lots of places to hide and lots of climbing. I think we can just see him walking along here. Let's see. There we go. Such gorgeous cats. That over there is the otters that we just came from. We're going to head on into the savannah. And then up here we have lion country. This is a fairly recent build, designed in such a way that you can see both the lions and all the herbivores in the savannah at the same time, with no visible join between the habitats, so it looks from the right angle like the lion is actually in with the herbivores. And it works pretty well. We've got this winding path up towards it. You can see the sea lions and the Madagascar house away in the background there. So there's a shortcut there, or we can continue around here to the lion habitat. Here's our lions. They've had some cubs recently, and you can see from here how you can see both habitats at the same time, and you can't see a join between them. And they're separated from us here by this moat. And way over there is the lion house, another kind of classic building still in the zoo. There's a view here through glass, so you can get really close to the lions, like this one. And then away over here is the final habitat in the African area for the bonobo. So we've got this crazy climbing frame up here. Viewing all around, the entrance to this area is there. Got some more viewing here, and then we've got another bit of viewing over here. And then I've got these plants so that the viewing isn't completely 360 degrees, so they can get a bit of privacy and they're not feeling surrounded. You can see one of them up on the climbing structure now. And then lots of them down here. Looks like it's feeding time. I think this is, and let me know in the comments what your thoughts are, but I think this is the best primate habitat that we've built on the channel so far. Very pleased with this one when it was finished. If we go around here, there's some indoor areas for them as well, with viewing for the guests. And we got this kind of wooden design, which is the entrance to the area and also the entrance to their indoor house, which was inspired by a zoo somewhere. I can't actually remember which zoo it was now. I think it's somewhere in the Netherlands. But this is their indoor area. A bit more detailing on this has been done since the Bonobos episode. Doesn't look like there's any of them in here at the moment. It's a nice sunny day. Why would there be inside? And that is the African area. We've almost completed our tour of Bellemont Zoo. Just a couple more things to see over towards the zoo's exit. We've got one more habitat to see, and that is for the Gharial. This is based on the Gharial habitat at Prague Zoo, along with a few others. Got some Indian-styled walls here, and then we've got an outdoor pool for the Gharial. You can see our male there. And then down here, we've got an indoor area for them as well, so that we can see them underwater. So we got a female Gharial in here at the moment. There we go. So it's at a height so you can see them above the water, or if you crouch down, you can see them underwater as well. And that is the final habitat in the zoo. If we go out this way, we head on towards the zoo's gift shop and exit, and our last animal, the blue-tongued skink. This was built a couple of weeks ago, and it's designed so that these animals can be seen both inside and outside the gift shop. So there's one away at the back there. There should be another one in here somewhere. And then we go into the gift shop. We've got a little poster stand here, which I really like, where you can get Bellemont Zoo posters. And then loads of t-shirts. And then some more skinks down here. And then lots of things for the guests to buy. And then finally, we go out through these doors and out of the zoo and back into the city of Bellemont. And that is Bellemont Zoo. Thank you so much for joining me on this journey over the past 10 months. It's been a lot of fun building this, and there is lots more to come. I'm just putting the finishing touches on my plans for the next zoo. It is going to be very, very different. But until then, I will see you next week for some more Planet Zoo. Thanks for watching. Bye.